Good afternoon, members of the media, and we apologize in advance for the delay. Today we're here for the fourth time to discuss 19-year-old Mark Dombroski. Coming to us at this time, we have Superintendent Sean Field-Ament, and he will introduce forensic pathologist Mr. Christopher Milroy. Sir?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us once again for the latest investigative update on the death of 19-year-old Mark Dombroski. Before I begin, I would like to repeat our condolences to the Dombroski family, and we empathize with them at this difficult time. I can report that on Wednesday, the 21st of March 2018, an independent forensic pathologist, Dr. Christopher Milroy of Ottawa, Canada, arrived on the island and conducted a formal autopsy of the deceased. Dr. Christopher Milroy is the Director of Forensic Pathology in Ottawa. He has consulted with Scotland Yard and has over 3 decades of experience as a forensic pathologist. He has conducted over 5,000 autopsies in his career. He will speak to the injuries of the deceased Mark Dombroski. Doctor?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I was instructed by the senior coroner for Bermuda to conduct this post-mortem examination. As a forensic pathologist, I did a very detailed analysis, which is what we do when we have a death where the circumstances are unclear. My conclusions from my examination are that Mark died from a fall from a height, and that I found no evidence of foul play in my post-mortem examination. So that was a summary of what I was able to identify from that examination which I conducted yesterday. Thank you.
At this time, members of the media, we're going to give you an opportunity to ask questions of superintendent as well as the pathologist. At this time, we'll ask you to identify your name and the media of which you represent for the questions. I see Mr. Moreno.
Good afternoon, Gary Marino, Bermuda Broadcasting. Mr. Field-Ament, can you confirm or deny that the young man may have been on any medications which might have had a negative impact on him if he had in fact consumed alcohol on the night?
Those details are part of the ongoing investigation, and certainly they will be part of the coroner's file, and it would be inappropriate for me to talk about those, Gary. But I will just use this opportunity just to reiterate where we are with the investigation. There's some things I do want to clear up. One, on behalf of the family, and two, to support our investigation. So bear with me for a second, and then I will get back to questions. Certainly, just so that we're clear on where we are. The last time that we saw Mark was at 1:30 a.m. At Alexander Road. Prior to that, he was in the doghouse, and contrary to speculation on social media, he was not with his family. He was with his teammates. I just want that clarified. So the last evidence that we have of Mark is at 1:30 a.m. on Alexander Road. At 4 p.m. the following day, he was found by a search party which consisted of police officers and his brothers. I want that clear. At that time, we were conducting what we would say a search and rescue mission, and we were out as searching everywhere trying to find Mark. Mark was found at the base of a 35-foot cliff, and at the bottom is a dry moat, which makes up the makings of the Fort Prospect area. At the time, he had his wallet in his front pocket with all his money and personal belongings, and his cell phone was near him. As the doctor mentioned, he died of injuries from a fall, and there was no signs of foul play. Be that as may, we continue to do the investigation, and we are still open-minded and receptive to all evidence that can be gathered. As such, we will be exhausting all avenues at the scene to try to determine, if we possibly can, what happened. There may be questions that we'll never be able to answer, but we will do all our best efforts to get a clearer picture of what took place at that time of the morning. To that end, we are still appealing for witnesses to contact us, and specifically people in the Alexander Road, Devonshire area, between 1 a.m. on Sunday and 4 p.m. on Monday when we found Mark. Obviously, you can imagine that the finding of a loved one was extremely traumatic, especially if you're a brother. And we are appealing for people that may have been at the scene or near the scene of when it was found to come forward and help us do it. The communications can be directed towards the Senior Investigating Officer, Acting Inspector Karima Flood, at 717-2086, or by email at kflood@bps.bm. Or if you wish, you can contact our anonymous and confidential Crime Stopper hotline at 800-8477. I will take some further questions if you desire.
You just indicated that the investigation is ongoing. Has the probability that he may have been pushed, or has that been considered, and if so, what was the determination?
Okay, the investigation is still ongoing. We, as I've always sort of maintained, we act on fact. There's all sorts of hypotheses out there, and I'm aware of them. We've had helpful members of the public send us stuff and ideas, but those are just what they are. They're hypotheses. We go on facts. There's nothing to indicate that he was pushed at this stage. We don't have any evidence of that. And the truth of the matter is, we may not ever find out how he came to fall.
One more. What role did the FBI play in the investigation, if any?
Thank you, Gary, for that. I appreciate that answer. As I stated, we've been working with the FBI as per our normal protocols very early on. The liaison officer has arrived, was fully briefed by the investigating officer, and then met with the family and explained what was going on and verified the actions that we're doing. They've been extremely helpful, and they are advancing certain aspects of this investigation. And specifically, we are looking at overseas witnesses to take statements from them, and they're going to assist us with that. And they are also going to help us explore the very challenging aspects of getting forensic information from cell phone.
Sir, do you think we were outdone by foreign media in this whole incident?
Thank you, Trevor, for that answer, that question. The answer to that is that I understand that everyone has a job to do, and they did their job, we did our job. It's unfortunate that certain aspects of this case were taken out of context. There was an unfortunate message what we spoke about, and obviously there was a salacious side to what was said. That was said, understandably, on the face of a very traumatic encounter, one was unguarded, and some unguarded statements were made not based on fact. We have now quite clearly, through forensic pathology, proven that those initial impressions were not based on fact and not true. And hopefully that message gets out. Mark is a tragic accident, it appears, at this stage, and that he fell to his death, and there is no sign, as we speak, of the evidence of any foul play.
Rosette? Paul Johnson, good afternoon. Did Mark climb over a fence? Was there a gap in a fence? How was he able to fall from his height?
The matter is still under investigation, and we will exhaust every avenue we possibly can forensically at the scene. We're still appealing for witnesses, and we're going through CCTV in the neighborhood. What we have right now is Mark at 1:30 walking along the road, up at Alexander Road, and then we have him at the bottom of a 35-foot cliff at 4 p.m. the next day. To sort of guess at what, how, or why he got there based on hypothesis and not on fact would be a dangerous thing to do.
Did Mark know that area at all? Is there any information to suggest that he had been there before? Do we know that if Mark had ever been to?
I can't answer that question because obviously we don't have any information that would indicate he'd been up there before.
Question I'm not sure if it's best for you or for Mr. Milroy. Has a toxicology report been done?
I can answer that. Yeah. Toxicology will be performed.
Okay.
But like a lot of things, it's not something you can do instantaneously, so it will take a little while. But it's and I just want to make it clear, it's absolutely standard procedure to do toxicology in these cases, and so toxicology will be performed.
Is there any idea what kind of time frame those results?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
It's being organised. I'm hopeful that that when the tests are done, it will be speedy and it will be expedited.
Will that report be made public by any chance?
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
I'll get to your question, Gary. I just want to say also the FBI have indicated they will try to help expedite the toxicology report. Obviously, there's interest in that, and we'll get there. Now, Gary, to your question in regards to the public report, what we're going to do, the investigating officers are still collecting evidence, and they will compile all the evidence we possibly can. That will be presented in a coroner's file, and that file will go to the coroner's officer, who will then arrange an inquest with the coroner. Then that is out of the Bermuda Police's hands. It becomes a matter for the coroner, and the time frame and how he deals with that inquest is entirely his remit.
How did the family respond just moments ago as you delivered the findings?
Well, it wasn't just moments ago. So once again, Trevor, just be careful in regards to reporting things as fact. We actually dealt with the family last night. The doctor and the investigating team met with the family, and we had a long debrief in regards to what happened in the findings. The family has been with us the entire time, and we've been transparent with all our findings and where we are with the investigation. I did speak to the family just now, and they asked for certain matters to be clarified, and I've done that in regards to one, the brothers were present when he was found. I can only imagine what that experience must be, and that also that they were not at the bar. The family were not at the bar with him at Doghouse. Sorry. Okay.
Would the police have done anything differently, and does the Bermuda Police Service have the capabilities to effectively deal with situations like this?
Would we do anything different? Hindsight's 50-50, and you'd say, yeah, maybe we might, but I think that we dealt with this matter as per protocol, based on best practice, and then we had a timeline that we did. That has been well and truly exhausted in regards to our initial response. I don't think we could have changed it, bearing in mind at the time the information that we had. And I think we dealt with it in a proportionate, responsible manner, according to best practice. Do we have the capacity? More than the capacity. We are a professionally trained department. My men and women that have been out there working around the clock are amazing, and they all are of the highest standard. And I think that we've done a best job as we could have, all things considered.
Any more questions? Thank you, Mark, for reviewing the exam. So I know when the last press conference.
Members of the media, general public of Bermuda, thank you so much, and our sympathies again go out to the family. Thank you.